What was of concern to the original Dewey planners was not competition, but learning for the sake of learning.
Therefore, we developed the concept of mastery learning that far back, with a youngster actually having an opportunity to be able to work at his own pace and his own educational capacity.
Mastery learning. Many of us came at it with the thought and the knowledge that if a youngster were given an opportunity early on, when the fundamentals in a course were in consideration, an opportunity to review, not as the result of failure, but as the result of an opportunity to re-examine it freshly, something that he wasn't getting or she wasn't getting, then we had the feeling that youngster would proceed effectively along the way. We had the experience with parents and students struggling for grades, but the grade we perceived sometimes became more important than the learning. We wanted the child to be responsible for his or her learning. We wanted that child to be part of it rather than a passive recipient. We wanted that youngster to have an opportunity to plan, that youngster to have an opportunity to learn for the sake of learning rather than for a grade at the end of the road. We thought that if a youngster learns 65% of something, he hasn't mastered it. He should have a really basically solid understanding or knowledge of the thing that you had studied. And that was what mastery meant.
I found Dewey a freeing experience because not having to work for a grade took a lot of pressure off, and two, enabled me to really enjoy and get into, without fear of not doing well, get into the subject matter in the coursework.
The beautiful thing about the course is that you work, and it pays off in the end.
Innovative programs that intuited their way to solutions tended to be the successful ones rather than those that constantly called on outside so-called experts to give them the answer of what should or should not be done. I think Dewey was a classic example of that intuition.
The guarantee we had to give everybody was that the academic excellence of the institution would be maintained.
Now, what's unique about this course is that you're developing something we've never taught before at Dewey.
Right.
And I assume it's a love of life, because I know you've always been interested in Latin America, so
From the outset, selection of personnel was intended by the Dewey planners and those who implemented the plan to maximize creativity and experimentation. Among other attributes, faculty were expected to exhibit receptiveness to new ideas, as well as initiative and originality in devising methods and activities. Most of the staff at Dewey came from educational environments where they had been effective and leaders in their own areas.
Added to this.
well, in addition, right.
The staff at Dewey was generally younger than any group of teachers I had ever been, in contact with before. They were extremely flexible in their teaching patterns, I guess, in their ways of running classes, in their ways of meeting needs of students, and they had ideas of their own with which they were constantly challenging you, forcing you to think.
The expectation for change brought by the staff to a design where change and experimentation were proscribed could do no less than foster strong identification with the system and new, innovative programs on all levels, from marine biology to even new concepts in school cafeterias, the energy factory.
It sounded like something out of the norm, and it sounded like I would just have opportunities to do things that I wouldn't get in other schools. One of the biggest pluses was that from what I saw from my friends in other schools, the teachers here were more involved with the individual student, with the growth of that student, and had a greater opportunity to reach the student.
Invariably,
when Dewey students meet with college people at a college night, at an interview, when they visit a campus, the response and the feedback that I get from the college people is their delight at how articulate and how open and easy the kids seem to be in these situations. And that, I really think, is a direct outgrowth of the kind of relationship that Dewey kids have with their faculty. That they can see someone as an adult and as an authority figure and still not be afraid to approach with a question, with maybe a criticism, with a complaint, or with just a desire to share ideas.
And that's very important, that young people have an opportunity to hear from one another and hear from other adults. Parents can't always supply that piece of the action at this particular time in a kid's life. And I think that we are, as parents, very grateful that our students and our kids can find an adult that they can connect with and relate to and talk to, and perhaps hear the same message that we may be saying at home, but hear it from a different person and therefore accept it in a much better way.
I wanted to come here because it sounded a lot warmer than the alternative high school, the old standard high school. I eventually found that there were many soft areas that provided a warmth for learning.
I think the thing that makes Dewey really unique for young people who come here is the opportunities that are available for them to connect and link up with one another and with the staff. The long day, the ability to interact in a classroom, in the hallways, out on the campus, in a resource room. The resource rooms aren't always used for kids to help themselves get along in their academics. A lot of very informal interchange between a faculty person and a student takes place under those conditions. It's my sense that a kid really has to work at not getting connected here.
This is an incredibly difficult school to describe. It has many tangible features to it. Resource centers and an extended day, modular scheduling. Those are not the important items. What's important, what's essential to the essence of John Dewey High School are the intangibles that those tangibles produce. This category of intangibles is a very remarkable love for school. A remarkable percentage of the kids who come to John Dewey High School love going to school. I think it's largely because they have some freedom. They have opportunities to make choices, to make decisions. They are treated like human beings, not just numbers and statistics. They can get individual help. They can be reached out to by a staff person, and they can reach out to a staff person or another student. John Dewey, the educator, believed that schools had to be more than classrooms and chalkboards and textbooks. He believed that there ought to be a relationship between schools and society, that to the greatest degree possible, there ought to be learning by doing. Dewey High School probably does a greater job of doing that than any other school in the system. And it does that because it creates a body of decision makers. It places a tremendous amount of responsibility on the shoulders of students. It creates an atmosphere in which students have the opportunity to interact with each other and learn what that's all about, and an opportunity to interact with adults and learn how to do that as well.
We have a passion for trying to discover the future and to predict it. It's from time immemorial, but really the future is an unknown, and the things that we perceive immediately may not necessarily be so.
If you don't have faith in kids, you have fundamentally undermined the program of the school. What a school and a system need is resilience and foresight.
What a school like Dewey has is a commitment to be aware and alert to what is happening.